We turn now to the spectacular eruption of a volcano in Iceland.
The remote island nation is a popular tourist destination at this time of the year for the northern lights.
But now sightseers and residents are being warned about the dangers of lava and toxic gas spewing from the volcano. Brad Singer is a geoscience professor at UW-Madison and an expert on volcanoes. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Hi, Brad. Good to see you.
You have traveled to Iceland. You've been at this location where this current eruption is taking place.
Oh, yeah. In 2008, there was an international volcanology conference in Iceland, in Reykjavik, and I took the opportunity to work with an Icelandic geologist for a few days right in the area where this eruption is taking place on the Reykjanes Peninsula.
What was your reaction when you saw the video from Iceland?
It's pretty impressive eruption. Fortunately, there was seismic activity a few weeks ago that preceded this, and so the village, Grinvalsen, was evacuated. The closest inhabitation was evacuated, and people knew that this was a potential threat. I even talked about it in my natural hazards and disasters course that I was teaching this fall. I told the students to stay tuned. You're going to see an eruption before the end of the year, and that turned out to be the case.
How accurately can you predict an eruption like this?
Eruption forecasting and predictions is a tricky business. It's very difficult to put your finger on a day or time of day or anything like that, but with the seismic activity, that there was a big uptick in the number of earthquakes in short amounts of time, and they were very shallow. It was pretty clear that a dike of magma was rising below the Reykjanes Peninsula right in this area, and so it was just a good practice for the Icelandic government, and the common practice for them. They're well experienced with this, to move the people away who were in harm's way. And so they did that about a month ago, I think.
Some of the most popular sites, like the Blue Lagoon, have been closed. There's a power plant near this.
There's some kind of power plant. I don't know if it's a geothermal. Likely it's a geothermal power plant that could be affected by lava flows if the eruption continued. Today, this morning, it looks like it's waning a little bit, but it could also flare back up. It's hard to understand what's going on below the surface, anything below the surface.
I was just going to ask you that. Do they normally pop, or is it a continuous lava flow potentially for an extended period of time?
What I understand about this eruption is there was an abrupt uptick in seismicity, so earthquake activity, very shallow beneath the surface, and the eruption onset coincided almost immediately with that. Just after that earthquake swarm, the magma came to the surface, at first abruptly, and then what happens is this is fed through a fracture in the crust, a giant crack, and so it's called a fissure eruption. So the fissure is about 2 miles, 2.5 miles long, and it's just basically a ribbon of magma coming up along that crack and erupting as lava. And it looks like the eruption fountains are like 100 meters high, 300 feet high. Now there were 5 main places where the lava was coming out, but now there's 3 this morning.
And this is one of the most active volcanic areas on the planet.
Certainly, yeah. Iceland is well known to be very active. It's right along the Mid-Atlantic Ridge, which is a divergent plate boundary, a mid-ocean ridge spreading center. Happens to be a place where that spreading center comes out of the water, above water, and people can live there, but it's a very dangerous place because of the active volcanism. There was an eruption at just south of where this eruption is taking place. There was an eruption in 2021 and 2022, much smaller than this one. So this part of Iceland is one of the most active parts of Iceland.
Do we know when this volcano erupted the last time?
I looked as best I could tell. I'm not an expert on Icelandic volcanism, but it looked like there were eruptions in this area in the 1800s.
Wow,
last time.
Not since then.
But as far as we know, there's no casualties right now. People are been moved, and it's pretty safe.
I haven't seen any information about casualties or threaten life or injuries or anything to date.
It's a spectacular show.
What about tourism from this point forward?
The airport is nearby there too. I remember flying in the airport. You have to pass by the Blue Lagoon. The airport is out on the Reykjanes Peninsula, so it may be that they're limiting traffic in and out of there for a while until the eruption subsides. I don't know.
Wow. Time will tell.
The power of nature.
It's amazing. Brad, thanks for being with us.
Very interesting, Brad. Thank you so much. Good to see you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.